Surely there are many better things than what we have left behind. C.S. Lewis, not denying the memories that have passed, nor belittling the losses or regrets that once made our hearts sink. On the contrary, the past, whether beautiful or sad, is just a stretch of road, not the final destination. The things we leave behind might be unfinished dreams, an old relationship, or a naive version of ourselves. But ahead, the path is still unfolding, shimmering with unnamed possibilities, like dawn, waiting for the sun to rise above the horizon. Belief in better things is not blind optimism, but the result of experience and growth. After each fall, we understand we are stronger. After each parting, we learn to cherish and love more deeply. The future is thus not only better because it differs from the past, but because we enter it with a heart richer in understanding and a more steadfast soul. Like a traveler leaving a dense forest to advance toward open meadows, we carry old lessons to embrace a new, clearer sky. We let go of what no longer belongs to us, so our empty hands can grasp something new. When we dare to believe that ahead there are many things worth anticipating, we walk more lightly, with less fear, and ready to live fully in the present. Because sometimes, the best thing is not in what we already have, but in what we are courageously moving toward. And suddenly, you just know that it's time to start something new and trust the magic of beginnings. Meister Eckhart, when we suddenly realize it's time to start something new. No clear sign needed, no affirmation from the outside world, just a deep feeling rising like a sprout, pushing through the soil, urging us to move forward. That beginning doesn't necessarily erase what has passed, but is like closing an old chapter to open another, where the pages are still blank and full of promise. Trusting the magic of beginnings is trusting in our own ability to be reborn. Each time we start over, we are no longer the old self with initial naivety and fear, but a version carrying experience, scars, and maturity. Like dawn after a long night, the beginning doesn't erase the existing darkness, but brings light, enough to illuminate the path ahead. The magic lies in the fact that just one first step can change the entire journey. Beginnings often come with vague anxiety, because the new always holds uncertainty. But it is in that undefined space that hope has room to blossom. When we dare to believe, dare to give ourselves a chance, life responds with possibilities we never imagined before. A new relationship, a new dream, or simply a new way of seeing ourselves. All can stem from the moment it's time. We let go of procrastination, placing faith in our trembling but sincere steps. And when we courageously begin, we understand that the magic is not always in the final result, but right in the moment we choose to believe and move forward. Happiness lies within. It has nothing to do with how much praise you receive or how many people applaud you. Happiness comes when you believe you have done something truly meaningful. Meister Nin, a small flame smoldering in the chest, nurtured by the quiet belief that we have lived fully with what we deem right. When people relentlessly chase acclaim, happiness becomes something borrowed and fragile, easily shattered like foam under the midday sun. As soon as the crowd turns away, that joy vanishes. In contrast, when we listen to the beat within, happiness emerges like an underground stream, unassuming, quiet, but enduring and refreshing. The meaning of happiness lies in the moment we close a long day and can smile at ourselves. It's the feeling of relief, knowing that our efforts have contributed to making life better. Even if just a small act, like sowing a seed, lighting a lamp, or offering a kind word. No need for witnesses, no need for recognition. That value still shines like a star quietly radiating light in the night sky. Belief in the meaning of what we do is the fertile ground for happiness to take root and flourish. When we understand that, we stop comparing with praise or criticism, Stop measuring ourselves by others' eyes. Happiness becomes a gentle companion, walking with us on the long road of growth. It teaches us to live slowly, deeply, and truly. So every effort carries tranquility. Every achievement leaves contentment. And then, in that stillness, we realize happiness has never been far away. It's always within, waiting for us to return and trust. "Where are you going?" I said. "To better places." Drake, Teen Bands. Better places is not a pointer to a specific spot on the map, but a silent declaration of the inner self. It's choosing to head toward the light, toward growth, toward values that make the soul more open and peaceful. Better places could be a new land, a new job, a healthier relationship, but it could also simply be a different version of ourselves, more steadfast, more self-aware, and more appreciative of our own worth. The shift doesn't just happen in footsteps, but first in thoughts. When people are brave enough to leave the familiar zone, they aren't certain what's waiting ahead, but they believe they deserve better. That belief is like an invisible compass, not drawing the path in advance, but always pointing toward the positive direction. It helps us move forward despite fear, continue despite not seeing results, because in our hearts, there's a destination called hope. Better places also implies letting go of what no longer nourishes us, old habits, unhealed wounds that once kept us stuck. Like a boat leaving the dock, we don't carry everything, only keeping what's necessary to make the journey lighter. And in that lightness, the journey becomes worthwhile. We learn to believe that life is not just a series of repeating days, but an unending evolution of the soul. It doesn't promise everything will be perfect, but affirms something more important. The direction we're heading is one of goodness. When we answer like that, we give ourselves the right to hope, to dream, and to keep going. And sometimes, just knowing we're heading to better places is enough to keep the heart steady on every path. Don't worry if fear approaches. That means you're doing something truly brave. Mandy Hale. Fear is not inherently an enemy, though we often avoid it like a storm. In truth, fear is like an alarm bell ringing at the threshold of change, letting us know we're leaving the familiar safe zone to step into new territory. If everything were easy and familiar, perhaps we're just repeating ourselves, not truly living. Fear appears when we face important choices, starting over, letting go, daring to speak the truth, daring to pursue what we believe is right. It trembles like feet before stepping on stage, like a pounding heart before a big decision. But that very moment reveals the hidden strength within us. Bravery is not the absence of fear, but moving forward despite its presence, like a climber looking down into the abyss, yet gripping the rope tightly. Each step holds both worry and faith. When we understand that fear is a sign of courage, our attitude toward it changes. We no longer panic or blame ourselves for weakness, but learn to listen and walk with it. Fear now becomes a strict but honest companion, reminding us that what we're doing is meaningful, big enough to make the heart cautious. And precisely because it's meaningful, we need courage to continue. We have the right to tremble, to feel uneasy, but not to allow ourselves to stop. Each time we face and step through fear, we expand our own limits, like the sky widening after each dawn rises higher. And then we realize, beyond fear is not failure, but often freedom, growth, and quiet pride for having dared to live bravely. To feel content, you must recognize that you possess what you've been searching for all along. Cohen. Often, we rush forward, believing happiness lies at some distant destination, a greater success, a more complete love, or a more perfect version of ourselves. In that journey, we unwittingly overlook the simple truth that what we crave may have been present for a long time. We just haven't stopped to notice. A traveler, wandering in search of water in the desert, without knowing they're standing next to a cool underground spring. We thirst not from lack, but from not knowing how to see. Contentment doesn't come from possessing more, but from the ability to recognize and cherish. When we slow down, look deeper into our own lives, we may realize that the things we once dreamed of, peace, fulfillment, the sense of being ourselves, have seeped into everyday moments. It could be intact health, genuine relationships, or simply the ability to stand up after falls. Those things are so familiar, we take them for granted until they're absent. Recognizing we possess what we've sought also means we stop pressuring ourselves. We stop comparing, stop feeling deficient before others' successes, because we understand each person's journey is different. The sense of contentment now is like a cool breeze through the mind, soothing impatience and unease. It doesn't make us stop or abandon dreams, but helps us move forward with a lighter, more steadfast mindset. Happiness doesn't just lie in what we'll achieve in the future, but exists in what we have in the present. When we recognize that, our hearts feel less crowded, our gaze becomes gentler, and life, though imperfect, is full enough to make us smile and say, "I'm right where I need to be." Growing up doesn't mean losing youth, but a new step for us to have more opportunities and develop ourselves. Betty Freidan, a mature and hopeful view of the journey of growth. Youth is often associated with innocence, dreams, and first emotions, making many fear that growing up will fade all those beautiful things. But in reality, maturity isn't loss, but transformation. The pure traits of youth don't disappear, they settle deeper, becoming the foundation for us to understand life, people, and ourselves more fully. Growing up is when we start seeing the world with wider eyes, no longer just black and white, right and wrong, but realizing life has countless interwoven shades. It's when we learn to take responsibility for our choices, dare to face failure, and know how to stand after stumbles. Those experiences may make us less naive, but in return, they give us steadiness and resilience. Like a tree over the years, no longer slender like a sprout, but with roots sunk deep, trunk sturdy to reach high and catch the wind. More importantly, maturity opens new opportunities that youth hasn't touched. We have more choices, more space to affirm our value and pursue what we believe. If youth is a dream ignited by emotions, maturity is the ability to turn that dream into reality through effort and perseverance. We no longer live by fleeting inspiration, but know how to build a long-term path for the future. Invest in knowledge, skills, and inner development. We stop fearing growing up, stop regretting the past days hopelessly. Instead, we learn to carry the youthful spirit into life's new phase, where each day is an opportunity to better ourselves. Maturity doesn't take away anything precious, but gives us the ability to live more deeply, freely, and meaningfully in our own lives. Standing still will one day bring dangers far greater than the mysteries when you choose to innovate. And innovation always comes with risks, ambiguity, fear of failure, the sense of losing control when stepping into the unknown. But the greater danger lies in standing still. When we choose to stay in the safe zone too long, familiarity gradually turns into stagnation, and stagnation silently erodes will, aspiration, and human adaptability. Like water blocked from flowing, it seems calm at first, but over time becomes murky and stagnant. Standing still makes us think we're avoiding risks, but actually accumulating another threat: the risk of being left behind. The world keeps moving. People around keep learning and changing. When we refuse to innovate, we don't hold our position, but gradually fall back without realizing. Opportunities slip by. Untapped potentials slowly close off, leaving a regret deeper than any initial fear. That's the silent price of complacency. In contrast, innovation always carries mysteries. Things unclear, uncertain, but it's in that haze that potential awakens. Each time we dare to step in a different direction, we must learn, adapt, and grow. Like stepping into a strange forest, we may fear not knowing what's ahead, but that's where new paths open, unseen landscapes. Mysteries no longer threaten, but become catalysts for development. Absolute safety is an illusion, and prolonged stillness is sometimes more dangerous than venturing forth. When we dare to innovate, dare to accept the unknown, we give ourselves the chance to grow, to advance with initiative and confidence. Life doesn't reward those who just watch, but reserves portions for those brave enough to move, even if the path ahead is shrouded in mist. Happiness is not having what you want, but appreciating what you have. People are accustomed to looking ahead, where unfinished dreams and unachieved things lie. We believe that just touching what we desire will bring happiness automatically. But in reality, when one desire is satisfied, another arises, like waves following one another without end. Happiness thus becomes something always distant, making us chase forever without enjoying the present. Appreciating what we have is a state of awakening, where we learn to pause and look deeply into our own lives. It could be health still intact to wake each morning, loved ones quietly by our side, or small things like a warm meal, a peaceful afternoon, or a full night's sleep. Those things are so familiar, we see them as given until they're gone, like sunlight. Only when clouds come do we realize the value of warmth. Happiness often resides in the most ordinary things. When we appreciate, the heart becomes lighter. We no longer compare ourselves to others, no longer feel lacking before what we haven't achieved. Instead, there's a quiet sense of fullness, like a jug not needing more water yet still cool. Appreciating doesn't make us stop dreaming or striving, but helps us walk with a more steadfast, unpressured mindset. We still move forward, but with a grateful and serene heart. Happiness doesn't lie in a distant future, nor depend on how much we possess, but right in the present moment when we cherish what's here. When we learn to appreciate, we realize we're not as impoverished as thought and life, though imperfect, is full enough to make us smile. And sometimes, that appreciation is the most enduring form of happiness humans can reach. The truth behind victories is that you never get satisfied with this life. Always struggling is the way to find peace. Julien Smithe. Victory doesn't arise from satisfaction, but from a sense of lacking better, lacking deeper, lacking true to our potential. When people are satisfied too soon, they stop. But when they sense current limits, a quiet flame ignites, urging them onward. That dissatisfaction isn't negative discontent, but the call of aspiration to rise, to live a more meaningful life than yesterday. Struggle, in this context, isn't necessarily confronting the outside world, but first an unending dialogue with oneself. It's struggling with laziness, with fear of change, with limits we ourselves erect. Each time we overcome a weakness, we gain a quiet but lasting victory, like a river ceaselessly hitting rocks to find its way to the sea. People need friction, challenges to avoid stagnation and losing direction. The special thing is, peace doesn't come when the struggle ends, but right in the process of engagement. When we know we're striving for what's right, for growth and lasting value, the mind becomes steadier. Peace now isn't absolute calm, but serenity, knowing we're on the right path. Even if tired, even if not at the destination, we still feel life has meaning, because each step carries awareness. A profound truth. People find peace not by standing still, but by evolving ceaselessly. When we accept that life is a continuous journey of learning and overcoming, struggle no longer burdens, but becomes life's driving force. And in that very process, amid unfinished efforts and incomplete victories, we touch a deeper form of peace, the peace of one living fully and true to inner aspirations.